In a world filled with blood and demons, there stands a man who cannot see, and yet sees more clearly than anyone else. Gyomei Himejima, the Stone Hashira, is revered as the strongest of them all. But what if I told you that his greatest strength was born from his greatest loss? This is the story of why Gyomei became blind, and how darkness forged the most powerful Hashira of his era. Gyomei wasn't always blind. As a young boy, he could see the colors of the world just like everyone else. But fate, cruel and merciless, struck early. A devastating illness consumed his body, and little by little, the light in his eyes faded away. What began as a fever ended in complete blindness. Imagine being a child, and one day, the world just goes dark. But here is where Gyomei's story already becomes remarkable. He didn't let blindness become the end of his story. Instead, he adapted. He began to notice sounds others ignored. The faintest creak of wood, the distant patter of rain, the way vibrations carried through the ground. Without sight, his other senses sharpened, pulling him into a new way of experiencing the world. Gyomei grew up near a temple. It became his sanctuary, and eventually, his mission. Here, he began caring for abandoned children, taking in the orphans who had nowhere else to go. He fed them, protected them, prayed for them. To those children, he wasn't just a caretaker, he was family. Imagine it, a blind man, towering and gentle, giving everything he had to kids the world had forgotten. But Demon Slayer teaches us a painful lesson over and over. Peace never lasts. And one night, the nightmare came. A demon slipped into the temple grounds. The children screamed, the walls shook, and Gyomei stepped forward. Armed with nothing but a rosary in one hand and his raw strength, Gyomei fought. Remember, this is before he had ever trained as a demon slayer, before he held the title of Hashira. He was just a blind man, standing against a monster. And yet, he held the demon at bay. He fought through the night, using every sound, every vibration, every prayer. By dawn, the sunlight destroyed the creature. Against all odds, he had done it. But here's the cruel twist. The tragedy didn't end with victory, because among the children he protected, one betrayed him. Terrified beyond reason, that child pointed at Gyomei, and in their panic, accused him of being the killer. To the authorities, Gyomei wasn't a savior, he was a murderer. And so, the man who had risked everything was thrown into prison, his name stained by a lie. This moment reveals the heart of Gyomei Himejima. In prison, he didn't curse the child. He didn't demand justice for himself. Instead, he wept. His tears were for the children who had died, for the fear that consumed the one who betrayed him, for the cruelty of a world where kindness is so easily misunderstood. His tears flowed endlessly, not out of weakness, but out of a compassion so deep it could not be contained. And it was here that Kagaya Ubuyashiki, the leader of the Demon Slayer Corps, found him. Kagaya saw the truth of what had happened that night. He recognized Gyomei's strength, not just his physical might, but his heart. And he offered Gyomei a path, freedom, purpose, a chance to fight the real enemy. From that moment on, Gyomei's blindness was no longer a barrier. It was the very source of his strength. He trained relentlessly, honing his other senses to supernatural levels. He learned to hear the faintest heartbeat, to map entire battlefields through vibration alone, to strike with terrifying precision without ever laying eyes on his enemy. Even his weapon reflects this truth. Unlike other demon slayers who wield Nichiren swords, Gyomei carries a massive flail and axe, linked by chains. A weapon perfectly suited to someone who fights through rhythm and sound rather than sight. Every swing is like a prayer made solid, a tolling bell of justice striking demons down. But let's pause here, because Gyomei's blindness isn't just a backstory detail, it's a symbol. In Demon Slayer, sight often deceives. Demons hide behind human forms. Beauty masks cruelty. But Gyomei, he doesn't see with eyes clouded by appearances. He sees with his spirit. He measures people not by how they look, but by the weight of their hearts. His blindness stripped away illusions, leaving him with clarity that most can't even imagine. And this is why Gyomei is more than just the strongest Hashira. He is the stone, the foundation, the one who does not waver. His faith, his compassion, his strength, all of it was forged in the darkness of his blindness. So why did Gyomei become blind? A childhood illness may have taken his vision, but what it gave him was something far greater. It gave him insight. It gave him strength. It gave him a way to feel the world more deeply than anyone else. Every tear he sheds, every prayer he whispers, every strike he delivers with that massive flail is guided by that unseen clarity. He is proof that losing one kind of sight can awaken another. That despair can become faith. That even in darkness, you can become a light for others. And that is why Gyomei Himejima, the blind man, stands as the strongest Hashira of them all.